Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Let's Talk It Out podcast. I'm your host and, the moderator, Alec Lifschultz, a.k.a. Trey Busy. I want to thank you guys all for taking time out of your busy week and busy schedule to come sit down with me for 45 minutes to an hour to have a conversation about mental health. I'm very passionate about it, and I'm very passionate about having a conversation. I do whatever it takes and whatever I can to help people, learn more about conditions they're dealing with or get information on how to cope with it. That's why I have so many professionals come on every week. So, before I want to get too much further ahead, I want to thank James for taking time out of his busy schedule last Thursday to come on. And I already thank Yaquis for coming on last Tuesday. Last week was the first time I've ever brought on two guests, and it was pretty successful, from you guys' standpoint and from the guest standpoint. They said they really enjoyed coming on. So I might look forward to doing that again in the future. You never know. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. But before I go too far ahead into the conversation by myself, I would like to thank and welcome my special guest tonight. Keith, can you come on and tell people a little bit about yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name's Keith Wise. Currently, I work as the director of Trio Student Support Services at Kishwaukee College. Honored to be on the podcast tonight and kind of talk about my story dealing with some mental health issues that I've kind of went through, but also kind of talking about my story and how I've come to work in Trio and helping to support low-income first-generation college students and being a kind of a guide to them in their college journey and the kind of the ways that my mentors did for me when I was in Upper Bound. Actually, me and Alec met through that program when I was in high school and kind of been able to reconnect through kind of the great work you're doing right now. So I'm just excited to be on tonight and excited to kind of share my story and kind of help people kind of fight the stigma, because we got to talk more about mental health in our communities. We need to talk more about it in our Black and brown communities in particular, and making sure that people, stop looking at it as a negative thing, but looking at it as something that they need to open up about and get the help and get the healing that they need.
Keith, how long have we known each other? What has it been like? 15 years?
We've known each other so long, as that's when I used to have hair. So I think that's a long time ago now.
Hey, nobody knows what you look like, man. You gonna put yourself out there like that?
Yeah, I got to be honest about it. We been open tonight, so I gotta be honest.
You're absolutely right. Like Keith said, we met through a Trio program, through the Upward Bound program, and this program was set to help kids in high school move towards, what's after high school, going into college. And this program, it also helped us, gave us the opportunity to travel around the country, see different universities, check out different viewpoints, different schools. It was pretty amazing what this program brought to us as far as like experience. So, now, Keith, you say you are in charge of the Trio program at Kishwaukee College.
Yes. So I've been. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you, like, what does those duties entail? Like, what do you do there?
So basically, I kind of manage the program, kind of oversee the program. If we got a grant intern for career prep, basically we do tons of different things for our students. We do academic advising for our students. We do tutoring. We also have online tutoring. We do college visits, kind of like what we did when we were in Upper Bound. And since we're at a community college, our focus is really helping students, whether they're coming to get a certificate or whether they're looking to just get their associate degree and go into workforce, or whether they're getting trying to get a transferable degree and go into a four-year college, basically help them with that process. And we do that in a lot of different ways. And I basically oversee that whole program. Also, I get a chance to also advise some students too, which is very important for me, because a lot of times when we move into a role like in a director position or manager position, you don't get a chance to be hands-on with the students as much. And me having the chance to kind of have one-on-ones and talk with my students and have those one-on-one conversations with them and kind of hear their stories and learn and help them is really valuable to me. So it's a great thing that I do, and it's kind of just really helped me just to continue to support and find more ways to help students in other ways too, because I also do like volunteer football coaching and stuff like that. So I'm trying to be more involved in my community, but be more involved in ways to kind of help them see college as an option, but also to kind of, help them to find more options in life, because that's what college does for you. It gives you more options, and kind of creates more avenues for you that maybe you didn't have before.
So I wanted to say, you said a couple things I really liked. I would like to greet the chat room before I go too much further. Everybody's just coming in saying hi, good evening, what's going on, just saying what's up to everybody. So I wanted to say, man, I really do appreciate the fact that you are cognizant of that not everybody wants to go to college. Not everybody is mentally prepared or able to go through college. Now, a lot of times, so families, these kids are growing up, and their parents are preaching, you have to go to college, you have to go to college, you have to go to college. And this creates, like, anxiety in that child to make them think that they have to go through something that they're not ready to do. No,
Right.
I'm glad that you're able to, like, help them out with, say, if they wanted to go through, get a certificate or join a program. And a lot of times, people would go through these apprenticeships in these trades. That's a good thing as well. I went through an apprenticeship myself at carpentry. I was doing that for a while. I mean, it's like it's other options available, and I'm really happy that you are cognizant of that and you work towards seeing what these kids want to do with their life instead of just pushing college on them, because college is not for everybody.
Yeah, I think like me when I was previously, I worked in like residence life, and I worked in diversity departments, and mostly I worked at 4-year colleges. And when I came to working at a community college, like you work with a lot of students come from a lot of different backgrounds, and honestly, the fact that they even got out to college sometimes, 'cause a lot of them have been out of school for so long and didn't get back to school. Like them coming to school and coming to realizing they want to go to college or want to get some type of education to better themselves, like that's just one hurdle that they've had to overcome. So pushing on them like, oh, you need to go to a 4-year, you need to get a bachelor's degree, you need to get a master's degree. That's not the answer for everyone. Like you're saying, like it's sometimes more is like you need to figure out what you want to do with your career, what you want to do with your life, and we want to help you support you in that. So whatever that is, we need to kind of help you put the pieces together to get there. So I think that's something I've learned a lot working at the community college more so than others. It's been even more rewarding for me because like we had a person in our program when I started there, Kishwaukee. He had been in the program maybe about a year, and he had been a retired firefighter, served in the Army, and just decided to come back and take 1 or 2 classes. And this man ended up coming in, realizing he wanted to go get a degree, finished his associate's degree with honors, and then now is over at NIU. He got a full ride basically go to NIU in that program there. So in the art program there. So it's just stories like that, helping people figure it out. That's what they want to do. And then for some other students, like I was meeting with a student just a few weeks ago, and he was kind of telling me like, right now in my life, like school isn't for me. Like I need to focus on figuring out some other things personally, some other things right there. And I wasn't going to tell him like, you need to be in the class. I'm going to tell him, well, figure out what you need to do for yourself and then come back here. And then when you come back here, this department is going to be here and we're going to make sure to help you when you get back. So that's kind of the things that I've learned and kind of stuff I see, because students need to know that there's other options out there, and kind of helping them figure out those paths is definitely what we do.
That's amazing that he was able to get a scholarship to NIU for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to say, like, when did you realize that this is what you want to do, to run the TRIO program? I mean, like I said, we went through it together. Mm-hmm. So, was there during that, did you figure that, hey, this is what I want to do? Like, when did you get to that point in life when you realized? And if I'm not mistaken, you went to Western Illinois, or was it Eastern?
I went to Eastern Illinois. Yeah, I graduated from Eastern Illinois with my bachelor's in history, and went to grad school at University of Southern Indiana, and got my master's in liberal studies. And honestly, like when I was going to Eastern, my focus was to be a history teacher. I got there in about my 3rd year. It was my 3rd year. Going into my 3rd year, my GPA had got to school. Like I kind of forgot all the great stuff people had told me up or down. And that first year of school, I was down at Eastern kicking it. Like my dad's a pastor, and like my first time getting away from home, I was just hanging out. And like I didn't really focus on what I needed to do to kind of be successful there. I didn't really reach out to resources and stuff like that. But I got involved in fun activities, but also got involved in like Black Student Union, things like that. That those people that was at Black Student Union and stuff like that kind of start gearing me towards like, hey, maybe you should like stop hanging out as much. Like that party life ain't really you, because they would see me at the party and I'd just be the kid on the wall, not really having fun, but I'll just be there because I felt like I just needed to be at the party. I need to be a part of it. And people like in Black Student Union kind of started pulling me to like try this other stuff, get involved in different things. And then when I got a chance to be an RA my sophomore year, because somebody who ended up becoming a mentor to me basically told me like, become an RA, get involved, got better. But by the time my third year got there, my GPA still hadn't got good enough for me to get into the teaching program. So I had to kind of decide what I was going to do. And honestly, I just ended up like deciding I wasn't going to go into teaching because I did some observations that I didn't like teaching. And then after realizing that I didn't like teaching, I was kind of scrambling for what I wanted to do. And my senior year, I was talking to one of the hall directors who used to supervise me when I was an RA. And basically she was telling me like, you should kind of go into residence life. You should kind of go and student affairs and kind of, you can still be teaching people, but you can teach people that's just not in the classroom. Like the work that we do with student affairs is not necessarily you teaching someone in the classroom. You're teaching them life skills. You're doing other things with them and kind of supporting them in other ways that a lot of students need. Like a lot of people got books smarts, but when you get to school, finding those resources to kind of get you through outside of just the smarts you got and knowledge you have is kind of what helps you be successful. And so those people kind of pulled me, and basically literally it was a conference that was going where I was interviewing for grad assistantships. And I had to scramble up some money to pay to register for the conference and to go to the conference. And literally, like, I think a week or two before the registration went, I had this conversation with this person. And she was like, you need to get your resume together. I can help you do all that. We go figure out some money. And I ended up getting the money, paying for the conference, and got registered for the conference. Went to this conference and interviewed with these different schools for grad assistantships. And then within a few months, I end up being able to go to grad school. And I wasn't even thinking about going to grad school or nothing. I was just happy to get my bachelor's degree. But when they told me I get grad school paid for, I'm like, I'm going to try this. But then also when they told me I can kind of use some of the skills that I gained in school to help students and do it in other ways that maybe wasn't teaching, then like that kind of excited me and got me interested. But then I still never saw trio as something I wanted to do. And actually, when I was in grad school, I had an internship at Perry State, working in their trio department, and got a chance to kind of see trio from my other lens and not just being a student in it, but working in the program. And even then, that was a great experience, and I still didn't want to do it. So I worked in residence life for a few years, and then I moved out of residence life and got a job in as an intercultural relations diversity person position. And then after that, basically, me and my wife got engaged. And when me and my wife got engaged, I realized that I had a 4-hour commute to the job I was working at when we got engaged. Well, basically 4 hours a day. It was 2 hours there, 2 hours back. So I was on the road 4 hours a day. And I was like, well, I need to get something closer. And then randomly, I interviewed for a different position at Kish. And honestly, I did good on the interview, but then they told me that they ended up going with somebody else who had more experience. And then she told me that there was this trio position that was open that she wanted me to interview for the trio position. And I hadn't thought about trio since I was in that grad program, and did the internship. And then basically I saw this as a good way to give back to a program that helped me a lot. And it was a way I was going to grow as a professional, but also like still be grounded and still work with students and do all the stuff that combine all the knowledge I've been gaining into like this career and what I'm doing right now. So it's a long story, but it just kind of led me on to this. So I didn't want to do it at first, but it just all came to this, and it's what I'm doing now, and I'm loving it.
Well, I mean, you were able to go full circle. Sounds like,
Mm-hmm.
you kept saying you didn't want to do it. You weren't really interested in it, and then boom, here you are running a program over there at Kish.
Yeah, definitely. And it was it's really just it blows my mind because I actually reached out to our old director for our Upper Bound program, like after I got the job, and told her I got the job, and like just to hear how proud she was of me, and just kind of see that, and just it's a blessing, and it's also kind of a responsibility I hold now to like uphold how she supported me, and how she supported the students in our program, and just kind of doing those same things for the students that I work with now. So it's a responsibility now that came on to me that I wasn't really looking for, but it's something that ended up being like the right fit for me.
Yeah, sometimes things just smack you right in the mouth, I guess.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
you tried your best to stay away from it, but that was for you. Jackie says everything happens just how it's meant to. Blind trust, what a blessing at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely been a blessing.
You said something that kind of triggered me a little bit. You said your first year you were gone because you said your dad was a pastor. You kind of wilded out a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, that sounds a little familiar. Like that first year when you get out the house and you get to
Hmm.
college and you don't have the same rules and regulations. I don't know anyone who did not make mistakes their first year or who did not get things that that did not party hard and then after that first semester it's like oh I gotta actually do schoolwork.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because I remember like that very first weekend that I was there, like it was like 2 days after my parents had dropped me off. I called my friend and I was like, it was like what, like 2 or 3 in the morning on a Saturday, and I called him, and he like up just pissed, like, why are you calling me? I'm like, because I'm outside. I'm excited that I'm outside and I can be outside, like I'm away from home, like I'm outside. And he just hung up on me, but it was just like I just was so excited about the idea of being in school that I forgot about the work that I needed to do in order to get the degree that I came there for. Like I was just excited about the experience of being in college because college is a good experience. Like I said, it's something that's beneficial for people. Like it helps you grow. Like a lot of people grow during those years, but at the same time, like sometimes a lot of people not ready for everything that comes with it. So it's you got to make sure that you fully invested in that experience because it costs a lot of money, but that money that it costs and everything is it kind of is worth it in the end if it's going to lead you to the career and life that you're trying to lead and the legacy that you're trying to create. Because for me, like I just recently had a son, and so everything that I think about is kind of like now is like, what am I doing to leave a legacy for him and my grandchildren, blah blah blah, and like my dad like respected his name and stuff like that, like that's kind of the things you got to start thinking about. And I think some people don't see that until a little bit later on, or either you don't see it until it's the right time for you to see it. And I think honestly, it might have been the right time for me to start realizing it as I got older, because I don't think I was ready for it when I was a freshman in college.
Yeah, when you was a freshman at college, you was just wilding out. It sounds like. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
B Lifto said it sounds like that's my mom. You gotta say hi to my mom.
Hey, how's it going?
I appreciate that. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it does sound like destiny, man. Like, so with these kids, do you interact with them directly? Like, you don't just sit in the office and answer emails and have the staff come in there and ask you questions about things. You interact with them directly, right?
It's a little bit of both. There are times when I'm probably like more administrative and I'm like the guy that's sitting behind the computer that's in charge of everything. But then there's other times when I get a chance to have one-on-ones with students I advise. I try to go to the college visits with those students. I try to go to our cultural trips with those students. When we're doing when we go to classrooms and kind of promote our program, I go to the classrooms and talk to students. Like I try to be visible in the program because I know when I interviewed, I remember my staff, they said we need somebody who's going to be a director who's going to be like visible and going to be out there. And honestly, personally, that's not really me because I'm not like the outgoing person like that. I'm kind of keep to myself a little bit. But in order for my program to go, in order to support my students, like they need to be able to see me. They need to be able to relate to me. And that's something that's always been important to me in any field that I've had working in student affairs, like making sure that the students can relate to me. Like, I know when I first got out of grad school, since I wasn't that much older than a lot of students, I tried to kind of relate to them based on that. But now, since I am a little bit older than them, there's other ways I've kind of learned to try to relate to them and try to learn from them. Because most of the things I think when it comes to being a director, being in charge of a program like this, you have to realize how to learn from the students that you support, because they teach me a lot more than I, could ever dream and imagine, just about perseverance and just seeing the stories and some things that these students are going through just to get to school and what they're going through, even to move forward to the next step. Like it's important to kind of be there and not just be behind the desk, like you said.
The only reason I asked is because I want to know, like, have you ever had like students come to you like with problems directly? I get it. You got a president. We've been there before. Like you feel a little hesitant to go to the person that's in charge. You feel like, well, let me talk to someone that's a little under them because obviously, maybe I interact with them more. But do these say like the young men or something, like say if they got something going on in their life, because it happens, man. Like these people have, they deal with things in life and they feel like they need somebody that they have to talk to. Have you ever had anybody come to you like that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've had that throughout my time working in higher education and working in student affairs. Like recently, it just recently in my, I think about a month or two ago, I had like a real good chat with one of my students where he just basically came to me, and we were getting ready to select classes for the summer and the fall. And basically, he was kind of just like, yeah, I don't know if I want to take classes no more. I don't know if I want to keep doing this. And I just told him, like, okay, well, if that's a decision you want to make, I want you to feel good about that decision. Right now, it don't sound like you feeling good about this decision. Like, let's talk through this. Let's work through this. Like, what's the heart of the issue that's making you feel like, like you can't move forward, you can't go on, you can't do well because you doing good in school, like, but I know you got a lot of other stuff going on. You got family, stuff like that. But like, let's talk through some of these kind of concerns. And we were able to kind of like a meeting that was supposed to be like 30 minutes and going like an hour and a half because we just started chatting. I told him about my story, how things I've kind of went through certain things and like felt like times that I wanted to give up when I was in school, when I was in grad school and stuff like that. And just kind of talk to him about those experiences and kind of help to shed light that like, you can go through this too and you can make it on the end, whatever that might be for you, you can make it on the end. And actually we end up getting him signed up for classes. He's taking summer classes right now, sign up for classes in the fall, and he keep going, So it's times like that I've been able to have those conversations, and those are like really beneficial. That's why I say like the role like I have right now is great because I'm getting the experience as administrator, but I'm also still being able to be hands-on with students. And like I've always told my mentors, like when it comes to like moving higher up, like I don't want to not be able to have those type of experiences with students, because that's why you get into education, because people don't make a ton of money in education. You make money in the experiences and lives that you are able to change. Like my wife's a preschool teacher, and every time we go out in our neighborhood, like she always sees a few of her students that, as they've gotten a little bit older, and those students still love her and be like, oh, maestra Maratete, they still go see her and love her. So it's just like, it's great to kind of be able to have that impact on the student and really be a part of like their story. Like, even if it's just like when I see them at graduation and, they give me a fist pump or just a hug and say like, thank you, then they got to tell me everything, but we know what we did and how we helped them. So, yeah.
Man, that's that's a lot of people think payment is the only way to be rewarded with what you do. Money is the only reward. But just knowing that you were able to impact someone's life to the point where it's changed for the better, to me, is worth more than money.
Yeah, definitely.
Just knowing that, I mean, just like you said, your wife sees these kids that she used to teach, and they're just so happy to see her, so happy to, that she's around. Granted, where do you live at? I know you're at Kishwaukee. Do you stay out there in that area?
I live in Aurora, Illinois right now.
Oh, okay. So you're like an hour away. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. And she probably teaches over there in Aurora, right? And
yeah, she teaches in the school district here, out here in Aurora.
That's pretty cool, man. I'm gonna have to link up with you one day. I thought you lived over, and I'll let you live farther out that way.
Nah, I'm still. People still think I'm far out here. Like a lot of my friends from college, like, oh, you way out west. I'm like, well, I mean, I'm near DeKalb, but I mean, I'm still in a good, I guess, distance. To me, I feel like I'm still close enough, but a little bit further.
So I wanted to ask you a couple of things, man. I wanted to get a little personal. 25 minutes into the podcast. Obviously, let's talk it out. We are a mental health network. We really advocate about it. You were passionate about it when we spoke off the air. So I wanted to ask you a little bit, man. Just get a little bit personal. Have you ever attended therapy before?
I started going to counseling last year. Well, yeah, it was about Yeah, it was around last year. I think around January is when I started. I'm not going right now just because I haven't found some time with the new baby, kind of figure out a schedule. But I started going last year, and it was like really an eye opening and just a real experience that kind of changed a lot of things for me and the kind of perspective for me. Because growing up, I had like a real bad temper, and like my temper and just I kind of learned where that came from. Like it wasn't because I came from a bad home. Like both my parents in the home, and there was nothing but love in the home. It was kind of aspects of like my anxiety, kind of forecasting and kind of doing all these other things. And those are things that like going to counseling and having those conversations helped me to see that, because I always just think, well, I'm just a short, angry guy, just a short, angry guy. I got this Napoleon syndrome. Like, it's okay. Like, it's these outbursts of anger is okay. Like, and they really wasn't like it. I can remember going all the way back to like middle school, and there was something happened in middle school where like a teacher asked me to lead the class, and I got mad about it, and I was outside the class punching lockers. And I remember I'm outside the class punching lockers, and the teacher came out like, "Oh my gosh, like what's going on?" Like I'm punching lockers, not because I'm mad at getting it kicked out of class. I was just angry. I just was angry, and like I remember like she went and talked to my mom about it and everything. But after that, it was just like, okay, well, Keith, you need to calm down. Don't be acting out at school. It wasn't. It was just that. But then I kept having like all these short outbursts and stuff like that. I remember even there was one time where like I tried to get like crazy with my brother out of nowhere. And like me and my brother always used to have a good relationship, but then I just like flipped the switch on him and try to go crazy on him and then somebody else that was at the house. And it was just all these little outbursts that kept happening, not just like the normal outbursts, like this, like, okay, this something wrong with this guy. So it was something that like kept happening in my life, to the point where like when I met my wife, and it really happened. We got married in 2017, and in the fall 2017, August 6th, 2017. And after we got married, we moved into a new house. And so I went from like, working in residence life. I moved in with my wife, and then we got married, and then we got a house, and it was like boom, boom, boom. All this stuff happened to me real fast. I'm growing up real fast, and I never really dealt with this anger and stuff like that. And like something happened where like, she noticed it, and she basically kind of told me like, you need to maybe go talk to somebody about this, like, because like these outbursts ain't healthy. Like you can't keep having this, going through this, like in like us being married. Like this ain't what we about to build as a as a couple, husband and wife. And so I really commend my wife for like seeing that in me, but also seeing that there was something going on. And I always knew there was. Like one of my friends is she's a counselor, and we always used to talk about stuff. And she always would urge me, you should go. Like it's not because like you crazy. It's not because something's wrong with you. It's because like it's good to have that outlet to kind of talk about it and learn where that frustration, that anger comes from. And so like I had that opportunity to do that, and it's something that was beneficial for me because it helps me now, even when working with my students, to kind of maybe see that in them and kind of even nudge them when they're like having some issues and they're coming to me and they're talking about it. And I'm like, well, have you ever thought about this? And have you thought about going to counseling, things like that, and kind of promoting the idea of doing that so they can see like Trio directed, my advisor, like he's done it, he's doing it, and like, and he's normal, or whatever this term of normal is. Like he's the same as me. So like maybe I should try to do something like that and get that benefit of getting that help and seeking that support, because it's something that like a lot of us need to do. And I know for me, I was always hesitant about it because like growing up as a pastor's kid, like I always tell, well, go pray about it. And definitely like you should pray about it, but go seek a little help too. Do a little bit of both. Like, do a bit of both for that, because it's beneficial to you to kind of talk about that. It's beneficial to also get down and pray about it too. It's beneficial to combine it and just kind of make yourself a better person. And that's what basically it's kind of helped me do.
So first of all, I just want to say I had no idea that you were an angry person, dude. Like I've known you for years, and I don't think I've ever once seen you upset about something. Like you've always been in my mind as a guy that's a happy-go-lucky guy. Like you were always smiling and stuff. I've never seen you upset before.
Yeah, it was just times where things would boil up, and just these outbursts would happen. I mean, they happened a lot when I was in college, more so than anything. Um, and then when I got to grad school, I was by myself. I was 6 hours away from home, and I was just kind of by myself. And then when I got out of grad school, my first job living in Wisconsin, um, kind of just went through some things there. Ended up coming back to work in Chicago, and thought I kind of got over some of that stuff, but I was still having issues like that. I remember I had like outbursts in the middle of a presentation with the students I'm presenting to, and it was just like, okay, well, there go Keith again, and no one really took me seriously as like this anger. They were just like, okay, something just no one took it serious, but I always felt like, like it was something more. So I needed to kind of work on that and improve on that. And it wasn't really, like I said, until me and my wife really sat down and had a real good, honest talk about it. Like, this is something that you should work on, and it's okay to go talk to somebody. It's okay to do that. And like, if it was going to help my marriage and kind of help my marriage grow, then it was something I was going to definitely do, because I didn't want to ruin that because it's something I never worked on before we got married.
So, when you went to counseling, did you ever figure out what the root of this anger was? Like, what was causing it? Where was it coming from? What are you frustrated about?
It was more so my anxiety. Like, I started to think that a lot of times I will be thinking that other people will be having like certain thoughts or saying certain things about me, and I'll just boil those things in, or something that like someone said that hurt me and I never talked about it and got it out of my chest, boiled those things in. So then I would kind of build up these ideas about how people thought about me, and get so nervous and get so frustrated and get so worried about it. I was just like, I would always unleash that anger that I had towards somebody towards the wrong person. And so it was just like I would have that outburst, many times, like me punching holes in walls and stuff like that nobody saw, because it's just me in my room, because I didn't want to have the outburst on somebody. Or it was just like kind of me just building up and doing those things. And so it was kind of talking through that. And a lot of it at that time in particular, when I started going to counsel, was because like just kind of adjusting to a lot of new change in my life. Like, I just started working at Kish. I just started taking on this responsibility as being this director. Like, I've been taking on responsibility of being a husband, taking on responsibility of like being a homeowner. Like, it was all these things kind of building up, and other stuff that like I had never dealt with, like from frustration that I had about situations that occurred in my life, that I never talked about more. And so it was just like having a chance to kind of talk to somebody about some of those things and getting some of that stuff off my chest. Like, it really helped me a lot. So it's just something that like is truly really beneficial for people to do that, because like you might not think that there's a problem there, you might not think that there's a concern there, but sometimes like talking about it and maybe getting at the heart of what the issue is really important.
Always, man. It's always a good thing to talk about it and just recognize it and also acknowledge it. You can't just sweep things under the rug, because they don't do nothing but get worse. It gets worse over time, and it grows into something that you cannot control. B. Lifschultz said, "This is encouraging. Your transparency helped to break many stigmas. Yes, thank you. You're mature enough to get the help that you need." Absolutely, man. Like I said, man, I mean, you can't just push things away and ignore them, because they get worse over time. They don't get better. As far as like, the anxiety from saying, you said you had anxiety from how others view you, like how they look at you, and that will cause you to get upset. Yeah, I mean, like, for you to be able to recognize that takes a lot of strength and a lot of wisdom, and for you to actively work towards finding solutions for that, like how to cope with that. So what has your therapist told you about this when you talked to them at the time? I get that you're not going now, but what they tell you at that time?
Well, he just told me that it was just kind of like, and my wife always said it too. It was like I was good to the point where I always just saw the worst in every situation. I remember talking to him about it, because it was like I was considering like applying for a job or something like that, and I was so nervous about like applying for the job or doing something about the job, because I thought, well, I didn't have the experience, I didn't do this, and then the people that I'm currently working with are going to be upset at me, and people are going to do things about kind of ruin my career and do all these other things. So I would just kind of go into these rants in my mind and like building up all these different thoughts. And he was just trying to kind of saying like you have to kind of take one thing at a time, and really not just kind of get into this path where you're kind of just roll into the cycle where you are just creating all these new scenarios for things that haven't even occurred. Like I would be stressed out about something that I think is going to happen, and this situation could happen or could not happen. But I would always say in my mind, oh, this is already going to happen. Like if I go speak to that person or do this, this is what's going to happen. This is the reaction they're going to get. This is how I'm going to react based on that reaction. And then based on that, I'm going to shut down. So I'm just not going to say anything ever about it. I'm just going to keep to myself and just like hold back on maybe talking through those things, or hold back on ever kind of working through some of those things. And that just kind of caused things to build up in me. And then there'll be a point where I'm just frustrated about things that whoever is that was there that day had nothing to do about. I'm frustrated about that. And then someone said something to me I didn't like, and then I would just snap. And so it would just be like me yelling and cussing and doing all this crazy stuff to somebody. It's like why are you doing this? And it had nothing to do with that person. It just kind of the build up to that frustration, not letting it out. And he kind of helped me to see those triggers of where that might start, or where I might start to, as he called it, like the forecasting and kind of predicting and kind of thinking about things that are happening that wasn't going to occur, and kind of helped me kind of talk through some of those things and seeing how, like, take every situation. I guess not to kind of look too deep into every situation, but kind of learn from it, take your time with it. And it's something that I'm still working through and learning now. So that's like, I'm still understanding some of those aspects of like what led to those things, and kind of slowly as I see it now, I kind of see myself, I'm thinking too far ahead and kind of getting too frustrated and just kind of always seeing the worst in somebody and not necessarily like seeing the positive and what could happen for somebody or a situation.
So Natty says it's very beneficial. Like I said before, and advise others now, it's always good relieving just to talk about it. I always thought speaking about things, counseling was for the people that were so bad and things like that, but it doesn't matter what stage you're in. It's okay, even if you feel good. You can always give encouragement to others that might not be in a good space. There's always room for learning. And yeah, man, I mean, like there's always, talking about it is very important. I mean, I say it every week. That's the whole purpose of the show. Let's talk it out. What do you think you guys are doing when you guys come on the show, right?
Definitely.
It's reverse psychology for my guests. They don't realize that I'm getting them to express themselves. They don't realize what's going on until it's already going on. You see that, So, I mean, the chat room is right, as usual. Just expressing what's going on with you is huge, man, for you to begin working towards putting a lid over the anxiety, putting a lid over the depression, over the PTSD, getting control, taking back control of your life. It's a huge thing for you to be able to express yourself. And like I said, I mean, just you being able to acknowledge what you have going on with you. I mean, that's huge in itself. A lot of people are afraid to talk about it. They're afraid to seek help for it. And I want to change that, man. I'm trying my best to change that. I want people to realize that that's normal. In order for you to have a successful life, at work, at home, friends, relationship, whatever, you have to be able to understand you and why are you the way you are.
Definitely. And I think that's something that like I'm still doing, still learning and growing. And it's like, it's just so important to have that and find that and seek that out. Cause like I said earlier, like having my son and kind of starting to see that, like, I need to make sure that set that example for him. And then also like, I got to set the example for the students that I work with. Like they need to, like for me, like one of the other reasons I kind of got into working in student affairs and like working in TRIO is because one, I want to be a good example of, a black male for a lot of students, like for them to see that and see me and not kind of go off the stereotypes of what they think black males are. Like they see me and they see somebody that's positive, that's trying to do things, but also somebody that's open about like what he's been through and open about how he's worked to change those things. And so I try to tell my students that and kind of be honest with them about my story. Because like I had a student who like he was going through a lot of different things, and I had just started going to counseling, and I told him about it, and he told me that he was going to counseling, and we kind of bonded off the fact that like we both were going to counseling, kind of seeking help for ourselves. And like ever since then, that's kind of been like a good bonding effect for me and him to have those type of discussions and kind of work together. And trying to support him and what he's trying to do. And it gave me more confidence in being able to say, like, okay, I can talk to my students about this, and I know that they need to hear this. They need to know that, you know, somebody's going through something like this, and that they are open to hearing that, and just kind of being able to share those things. So like, definitely that's why when you asked me about being on, I was so excited about the opportunity, because it's just like not just to tell my own story, but to get that out there, because like maybe someone to hear this and kind of see, like, you know, well, he realized this one thing, you know, that was going on, and he kind of started to see the root of it. And I'm not totally perfect on it right now, I'm still working through it, but to just know that, like, you got to start somewhere. And then, like, for me, being able to start somewhere and kind of learn from that, and keep doing that, it's been really beneficial for me.
So, I mean, just for them to know that someone in your position, like you're president of the TRIO program, or someone in your position is dealing with the same exact thing that they are. I mean, that must does wonders for their confidence, man, to know that, you know what, I'm not alone out here, because it's hard for a lot of these guys, man, these younger men that were taught their whole lives that they have to be strong to open up about something that's going on with them. They feel like that they have to just deal with it, you know, keep it quiet, and just, you know, that's just the way it is. Or, you know, the saying is, it be like that sometimes. That's what they say. They be like that sometimes. You know, you got this going on with you. Oh, it just be like that sometimes. No, you'll be all right. You know, ain't nothing wrong with you. That's the saying in our community. That's the saying. That's how they look at it. You know, so for someone to be in your position, a black man in your position, to be able to come to these younger guys and tell them that, you know, hey, you know, I'm dealing with that myself right now, and that's completely normal. I can only imagine how they feel to hear that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's beneficial both sides. Like I always say, I learn more from my students than they probably learn from me. And like being able to just have a conversation with them and open up about myself, but then them to open up as well, and kind of just us to be able to bond off that. It's very impactful. Like it's kind of one of those things where, you know, you might have a long day at work, and being able to have that one conversation with that student that one day during that week makes the whole week, the whole day better. So it's just like being able to do those things for students and being able to kind of be that example. Like that's why I'm here. That's why I'm trying to do what I do. And it's because, like, people who did that for me, like, you know, maybe not so much on the mental health side, but like a lot of my mentors kind of was open about their experiences, kind of what they dealt with, like just to get to school and kind of do the things that they were doing, and kind of motivated me to be like, okay, well, I can try to set that same example for, you know, future students. Like, I think I can't, I always forget the phrase, but I think it's like reach one, teach one, something like you kind of have to be the spark to kind of help someone else, and then that someone else kind of helps the next person. And I think that's really important in our communities to do that, because a lot of times I think the media always says there's not a lot of positive male models out there, but there is. It's just like those people have to be willing to be open to speak and talk about their experiences. And there's a lot more males with degrees out there than people think. There's a lot more black males out there, like just being able to doing a lot of this work. And so it's just kind of being able to help those males who don't see that, and, you know, for them to kind of find those people and get connected to those people. And when they connected to those people, they, you know, they can flourish and kind of grow, and then they go and connect and help somebody else. So it's just kind of how you have to kind of pass that message along.
So I want to read from the chat room real quick. B. Lifschultz says, acknowledging you have issues, seeking help for your issues, applying coping mechanisms, and being committed to becoming a better version of yourself takes tremendous strength. It's not weak to get help. It's being an adult. This is true legacy, living your best life. Yeah, that's just, I mean, encouraging words for you, man. I mean, that's, like I said earlier, man, that's for you to be able to acknowledge that and take steps towards, you know, resolving it and putting a lid over it is huge. I mean, you're never going to not have any type of anger. I mean, anger is an emotion. It's normal to have that emotion, but you can affect and change the times where you get to that point of anger. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's definitely because a lot of times, like, having that anger, like, a lot of people go down the wrong path because of one bad decision, one frustration, one moment of frustration, and kind of being able to control that anger a little bit better helps you to maybe avoid that situation, because that's how a lot of people get get locked up. That's how a lot of people lose opportunities because of one bad decision, one bad moment where like they let that get the best of them. Like you said, it's a natural emotion. It happens, and that's, we all should be able to express ourselves in those ways too. But being able to know the time and the place and being able to be in control of yourself. I think there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about that. Like if like someone is control of their themselves, the ones that are not control of his anger, that's a fool. And the one that is control of his anger, that's like the correct way to be like a man of God and kind of go from there. And that's one thing that like my mom kind of tried to show me as well, that like through that scripture, that's kind of where you can learn and grow.
Your mom sounds like a very wise woman. So at this time, we're at the 46-minute mark. Man, I want to ask you if you have any last things you want to say to the chat room, give people a last word before we close up tonight.
Honestly, it's just like if you're thinking about like going to see a counselor, you're thinking about that you might want to, just go do it. Like, don't wait, don't hold back on it. Like if you just want to even just go and just kind of try it out and kind of see how it can benefit you, just do it. Like sometimes like people like don't know that they have access to that based on like their medical stuff and everything. Like you don't know if you have that based on like your insurance and stuff like that. Just go seek out that information. Like go find somebody, go talk to them. Sometimes they do sessions for like a smaller fee and stuff like that. But just go see and learn and kind of do the work to kind of help yourself. Like one of my, it's funny, like one of my favorite pro wrestlers always talks about, you got to do the work. Like you got to do the work to improve yourself and do the work to get better as a person. Unless you just want to stay stagnant. And like for me, like I couldn't stay stagnant because I needed to work on this because I want to be a better husband. I want to be a better father. I want to be a better director. I want to be a better brother. I want to be better in all those things that like I all those titles that I have for myself. Like I want to be better. So if this was one thing that I felt like was going to hold me back, I had to work on it. And just being able to walk through that door and do that, you gotta get over that fear, get over that stigma. Like there's nothing wrong with it. Just go through and do it because it's only going to help you and it's only going to help you grow as a person.
That's amazing advice, man. If you're thinking about going through therapy, like Keith said, man, just check it out. There's free resources out there. I mean, like you said, man, people will work with you. A lot of places will work with you. Meg says that's the best advice ever. Natty says, Ecclesiastes 7:9, do not be eager in your heart to be angry, for anger resides in the bosom of fools. That's
exact verse. She found it. Yep.
Shout out to that Bible app. No, I'm kidding. She might have known it. So, again, man, Keith, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy life and your schedule to come on and join me for our conversation tonight on Let's Talk It Out.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for just inviting me, and thank you for creating this platform. Like I just want to continue to pray and hope that this platform keeps getting bigger and that people come and hear these conversations and listen to these podcasts, like because it's something that's just beneficial for people to know and kind of really, as you always say, like stop the stigma, like move past that and kind of know that we can move forward and we can get better as a people if we kind of start focusing on our mind and then focusing on our heart.
I truly do hope that this show does, grow. And it's up to the people. It's up to the listeners, man. You guys share the word. You guys share the links. I do my part as much as I can. You guys just, I post the links all the time. Send them to somebody. Share it with somebody. Bring a friend to the chat room and have them listen in. I do accept everything you say, man. I do really hope that gets to that point. My mom said it's a great show. Thank you, Keith, and thank you, son, for coming on. Yeah, like I said, I do appreciate you guys for coming out. And I want to say that next week, because last week we did so well with 2 episodes, next week we'll be live on Tuesday again. I got a very, very special show ready for you guys on Tuesday. So I'll talk to you guys next Tuesday, and I will be talking to you guys next Thursday. And until then, you guys have a good weekend.